Sweat a workshop. Duh. But there's no combat in the game. The graphics look like PS2. It's woke garbage. It's slop. This right here is exactly why Weta Workshop was the perfect group of people to make this game. And the thing is, here's the thing, guys. This is the biggest troll slap we're going to get of the day. The reason all of those angry people on the internet don't like this game is because they can't hear the music anymore. They've lost touch with the core essence of what Middle-earth is. They can no longer hear the beauty of the song of the Anner. They can only hear what Melkor, the dissonance of Melkor, the dark side. Because remember, kids, even the Jedi knew this. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. These are the paths to the dark side. If you can't hear the music anymore, you've lost touch. Because in the music is beauty when the heart is stirred with song. And then a very few can feel it. And such a one is you, Delphinium Brandybook, and you, my dear viewers and people of the internet who are having fun with Tales of the Shire. If you too can hear the music, you're going to have a great time with this game. Because that's what this is all about. That connection to Middle-earth. Ba-bam! She is from mother's daughter and from a long line of Brandybooks. She'll be fine. Bywater will be fine too. You should know, Renfail, that the wizards always talk in riddles. Perhaps when you least expect me, I will return. Till then, farewell. Oh, and I just got some apricot jam. Yay! Dude, some apricot jam sounds pretty awesome right now. Ooh. Here is a... There's waterfalls here. I have a quest. In the heart of the forest, where the river doesn't run, it falls. Where the water doesn't babble, it roars. So there is gonna be somewhere in this forest. Oh, we're not quite in the forest though. But since we're over here, let's take a look if we can't find this discovery. Where the water roars. There are multiple waterfalls in this forest, so finding the right one is going to be key. Yep, they've lost the magic of the song. This is a cool little spot right here. What's up, Deeks? Oh, I see it. I see it. Or at least I see something that I'm supposed to go. There's a little blue quest highlight right here. In the heart of the forest it calls. Where the river doesn't run, it falls. Where the water doesn't babble, it roars. Time to get Daisy here. Heart of the forest. I'm a took. We tooks are always looking for adventures. Oh, she's got another one. If you saw that, you're smarter than Gandalf. A traveler without foot or wheel, its journey done, it rests its keel. So that's a boat. What? Huh? No, no. 20 minutes, por favor. Gracias. Breakfast is served, everybody. We are playing a Hobbit game. We have to have breakfast. I've got an egg spinach omelet with beans and fresh tortillas. So, if your wife or significant other, husband, wife, spouse, significant other, cooks you good food like this, you know you're winning at life. Blanca Nieve, you cannot have my breakfast. This is for me. Kitty cat. Kitty cat is like, ooh, breakfast? Do I get some? You can't eat my tortillas. Come here, sweetie. We're going to have to put you outside. She can't resist. Anytime Chris brings me breakfast, she wakes up from her bed and she's like, can I please have some? Time for the ASMR mukbang. That's true. A traveler without foot or wheel, its journey didn't rest its keel. It's an upturned boat. It's gotta be. Puedes sacarla para la refugio, por favor. Yeah, because she immediately is like, can I have some, please? Maybe give her a little snack. Thank you. We are still winning. That's true. We are definitely still winning. Let me save the game and back out to the menu because I don't want to have time pass while I'm eating my breakfast, because we are definitely going to take a moment to enjoy this delicious breakfast that my wife prepared as we go into the ASMR portion of our stream. Five weeks of vacation. That's awesome, Yari. Oh, man. The cheese pull on that omelet is insane. Oh, that's good. Just gonna look at that cheese pull. Oh yeah, look at that. Ha ha! That's how you know my wife loves me. That is a breakfast worthy of a hobbit. Oh, it's got black olives in it too. Mmm. Winning. Winning at life. basement dwelling trolls. Um, you know, as much love as I have for the books, AFK and I do love the books, I think what Peter Jackson accomplished with the film trilogy still stands to me as probably one of the biggest achievements I've ever seen someone make in film. Not the least of which is that it won so many Oscars. I believe it still holds the records for the most Oscar-nominated. Return of the King is the most Oscar-winning and nominated film of all time. I don't think anything's knocked it. Has anything knocked it off its perch yet? I do love the books, but I do love the movies, man. So in terms of like everything out of everything in the Lord of the Rings universe, I do love those movies. The extended editions. And I'll tell you why. They are not book accurate. Nor should they be. But they are nevertheless, like, I remember when I got the extended edition box set, and they came with those DVDs of all the extended features, right? And you get to sit there and listen to everybody at Weta Workshop, and Peter and Fran and everybody, like, the amount of passion that those people had for what they were building, from the chainmail to the leather, to the swords that were made, to the music, to Andy Serkis developing a whole new, entirely, new type of technology alongside Peter Jackson and the team of motion capture performance. And those films are amazing. So, that scene in The Prancing Pony, he's one of them ranger types. Strider, I think his name is. And it pans to Strider, and you just get the flare of the pipe, and it lights up the face underneath the hood. And it's just like, and there were so many throwbacks. Like, if you've ever seen the animated version of Lord of the Rings that had been done, I think, in the late 70s, that Bakshi did, and then you watch Peter Jackson's film, and you see all of those references to scenes and shots in Bakshi's Lord of the Rings, and you begin to understand a little bit more of what Peter Jackson was building. Yeah, broken toes, and cutting their feet, and like all the things that those guys went through. The friendships that were bonds, the fact that all those, it had never been done before. They had never filmed a movie in sequential, like everybody's on set for like, was it 18 months? I don't remember what the timeline was, but like they shot all of those movies back to back, like principal photography. Like no one had ever done that before. Usually it's, you film a movie, you go away for a couple of years, you come back, you film the next one, you go away for a couple of years, you come back, and so you're constantly in and out. But instead, these guys all lived together. Like the behind the scenes stuff of like, Viggo Mortensen is out there like fly fishing, like the hobbits are all living together in these apartments. They're all going out to dinner together. Like the camaraderie that was built on that movie set, it was truly something special. I don't think we're ever going to see something like that ever again. So as much as I love the books, I do think those movies are the best piece of Tolkien-esque material we're ever going to get, at least in my lifetime. Yeah, exactly. Like Rolex said, the movies captured the essence and soul of Tolkien. I fully agree, and that's something that was fostered by the production team, and by Peter Jackson's vision. I do wish we would have gotten a second part to Bakshi's Lord of the Rings though, because that was technologically pretty awesome what they did at the time with the rotoscope and motion capture. Because the Hobbit, excuse me, the Return of the King film that we got later, it's not very good. It's funny, but it's not very good. Where there's a whip, whoosh, there's a way. I also think those films were at the tail end of blending practical effects with digital. Because by the time he moved on to The Hobbit had way more digital, and it was noticeable. Whereas they were still doing so much miniature work. Like the film, the shot, and this is the interesting thing, like the shot when they come up to the Argonath, right? And they're in the boats. And there's this long, sweet, and there's so much time, even in the theatrical version of those films, there is so much time given for that shot to just play out, so that the user really does get a chance to absorb the impact of what the moment was. And those are styrofoam fucking statues that were, you know, like whatever, 8 feet tall or something that they carved to use in the film set. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, that scene in the book, I can't remember which of the hobbits, one of the hobbits looks up at Aragorn as he's looking up at the statues as they're going under them in the books, and I think that's a scene where he has like an angelic glow around him, and they can actually see in this moment the glory of the kings of old reflected in Aragorn's face as he's looking up at his ancestors. Like, there was so much of that. George Lucas has some really good discussions on practical effects versus digital, and Frank Oz has also talked about this, like the blending of practical with digital. The eye it's easier for the eye to be tricked, whereas when you're doing it all on green screen, the eye is looking at that going, that doesn't look quite natural. Something's off about that. Whereas it doesn't notice that when you're doing practical miniature effects or bigatures even. I don't think The Hobbit dragged on and lost that classic Tolkien feel. Chris and I love those Hobbit movies every bit as much as we love the Lord of the Rings films. They are amazing movies, but they use way more green screen than the Lord of the Rings films. Lee Pace as Thranduil? Oh my god! I love those Hobbit movies. But I do think that the Lord of the Rings movies were better, mostly because of practical effects. Especially the extended edition of the Hobbit movies, I love, because we get so much more of the wizards going up against the necromancer. I just love that stuff. Not so much Radagast with his bunny rabbit. Well, you know, Abraxas, when you get a multi-million-dollar contract, you can go make the movie that you want. You're complaining about, why stretch it into 3 movies instead of just 1 like the book I love? You are literally the person we were talking about at the beginning of the stream today and yesterday, who doesn't understand that adaptations have to be different than the source material. We've had that discussion a lot. Hector doesn't want me to talk about it again. I'll tell you that much. Because he'll be like, oh God, not again. Don't get him started. Because here's the thing. If you love the book and you love Tolkien, then you love all Tolkien. You love all adaptations. You love it all because you're a fan of Middle-earth. And at the end of the day, every book, every TV show, every film, every comic book, every radio drama, every adaptation ever spawned will bring more people back to Middle-earth. And that is the beauty of having an IP that can inspire people across so many mediums. More is always better. Three movies? Fuck no, I want 6. I don't want that journey to end. Give me a TV series. Give me a 5-season, 12 episodes per season, 60 episodes in total journey from The Hobbit. I want that whole journey arc to play out over a 5-season arc on TV. Give it to me. I'll take it. But it has to be one. Only one, just like the book. No, man. Nah, we want more. I always want more of the things that I love in life. Call me a glutton if you want. But I do want more. I can't wait for the Hunt for Smeagol movies that they're doing right now. Andy Serkis is starring and directing those 2 films. And you know there's some purist out there right now who's going, we don't need a Hunt for Smeagol movie. That's not in the books. I don't want to watch it. That's not really Tolkien. Yeah. So don't watch it. You don't have to watch it. I'm going to watch the shit out of it. More Andy Serkis as Gollum? Hell yeah. Aragorn and Gandalf traipsing around Middle-earth, chasing after Gollum. The Hunt for Smeagol. Across 2 films. More Lord of the Rings in my lifetime. More New Zealand landscapes shown on film. Are you fucking kidding me? What's not to love about that? But it's not in the books! It is in the books, actually. They're just taking a snippet and expanding. Yes, they're in it. It's 2 movies back to back. They're filming both of them back to back. And yet, somewhere out there, there is a Tolkien purist who is puffing his pipe heatedly. Right. There was never a book about the Hunt for Smeagol. There was never a book about that. It was only like a couple of sentences in the Lord of the Rings. There's no reason there should be a movie about that. They're just trying to make money off of the franchise. How dare they? Ah! Should just be one. Nah, man. I want a Young Aragorn series. For sure. I want to see a Young Aragorn series in my lifetime. I want to see Aragorn when he was young, when he traveled under many different names, and he went off and fought in Rohan, and he went off and fought in Gondor, and he fought in the battles with the grandparents of the people we meet on their journey to Gollum and stuff, right? Like, I want that Young Aragorn series. I will absolutely eat up all of that. 100%. I would love a young Sauron show as well. Like, I've really enjoyed the last season of Rings of Power, the arc that they gave those, Celebrimbor and Sauron. That entire sequence that played out over season 2 was one of the best performances I've seen in a long, long time. Like, those guys are both well-established stage actors, and their performances as stage actors on those sets was dude, Celebrimbor is slowly losing his mind and then finally at the end realizing what happened and going, oh shit, I've been duped by Sauron. Like, it was fucking epic. Oh, so I would love to see like Sauron when he was younger and how he got corrupted. That would be really cool. But I definitely want the young Aragorn series. Give me a young Legolas series. Definitely a Gimli Son of Glóin series. I want all those characters when they're younger. Like, there's so much material that can be farmed out of the appendices, which they have the rights to. Like I said, if you are a fan of Middle-earth and you love Lord of the Rings, then you will always love that stuff. Whatever they decide to pull out. So you know, I'm very content to sit and wait and just be happy with stuff that comes out and be like, fuck yeah, that looks cool. Maybe I don't like certain aspects of it, but you still, overall, you love all of it. Like, I was heartbroken when I saw Fellowship of the Ring in the theaters, and Arwen shows up at the Ford of Anduin and not Glorfindel. I was like, what? They betrayed Glorfindel. Here's this badass elf who, like, fought Balrogs and came back from the dead, and they throw him under the bus, and they do him dirty, and they bring Arwen. But then I watched the entire arc, and I went, oh, I know why they brought Arwen into this so early. I know why they did that. I get it now. And every fucking time, when we get to the end of Return of the King, and fucking Hugo Weaving is sitting there with tears rolling down his face as he gives his daughter, who has lost her immortality, and she's going off to marry Aragorn, and he's crying. And he's crying. And I sat there and watched the story arc, and I'm like, oh my god! I'm crying right alongside Hugo Weaving, because I feel the impact of the love that she had for Aragorn, that she was willing to give up her mortality. And if they hadn't put Arwen in the first movie, we never would have gotten that awesome story arc. And yet, somewhere in the back, there is some Tolkien purist who's like, no! She was never supposed to be a part of the main storyline! No! It's not like that in the books! No! So, go raise a couple $100 million, make your own movie. I'll be right back. All right. I've definitely seen an overturned boat somewhere. I want to say it's up here by him. Yeah, Serena, I was, once I understood the journey that they were taking in the films, I was on board for it. But believe me, the 21-year-old me who saw that movie in the theaters was very much a Tolkien purist. And I was very riled up. I was like, why? I did not care about the Tom Bombadil thing, because even I understood that Tom Bombadil has no place in a film adaptation. But the Arwen thing was like, wait, what are you doing? And then also the Faramir thing. The Faramir thing. Oh, I was like, I don't why is Faramir taking him back? Well, I don't know. That's not the way it happened in the books. But then, especially once you watch the extended editions, but to a lesser degree the film editions, when you see Faramir make the switch, right? What they're showing is to the people who've never read the books. What they are showing in that film adaptation is the fact that all men are corruptible by the ring. They had to show that. But they also showed the strength of men because Faramir eventually resists. And if they had done it, because again, in the books, they have a whole bunch of time that they spend with Faramir, where they're going through the ruins and they're talking. They have so much that they're doing with Faramir, right? And you're not going to get that in a film adaptation. You don't have time to show that stuff. So you're never going to understand the relationship they've built up with Faramir if they just show him and then he lets them free, right? You're not going to understand the strength of Faramir as a character because you're not getting all of that backstory. So the only way to show that properly is the way they did it, which I thought was brilliantly done. Once you understand why they made that creative decision, because it shows the viewer who has never read the books that Faramir, like other men, is fallible, but he also has the strength inside of him to resist. And when he does resist, it makes it a far more impactful moment, because you're like, yeah, that's right, Faramir is just like Aragorn. He can resist the power of the ring. Some of that too, I think, is just the maturation with age of realizing that my viewpoints as a late teen, early adult were a little twisted, and you learn things as you get older, and it's like, oh, I understand what they were doing now. Oh, I get it. Especially, I hadn't written anything professionally at that point. My first story didn't get published until I was 28. So, you know, 28-year-old me understood a lot more about the writing process, the editing process, the storytelling process than 21-year-old me did. Alright, does she have another riddle? I'm off to tell Mom I'm smarter than Gandalf. I think that was the last riddle. Alright, we can go back to our home now. And wait for tomorrow. Because in the books, going back to Faramir, Faramir is one of the most badass characters in the Lord of the Rings. The guy eats, sleeps, and shits on the border of Mordor and has lived his whole life as a scout and as a soldier protecting the realm of men against the evils of Mordor. Like, his character is so amazing. And it's but yet in the purpose of the journey of the hobbits, he's only a side character. You know, he's not part of the main fellowship, but he's there as this backdrop to show like what Boromir was. Boromir was a man much like his father who had that weakness inside of his heart. Faramir is more like the men of old. And in the book you have so much time to get to know him through the various chapters where the hobbits are stuck and they're prisoners essentially. They are prisoners. Like he does take them prisoner, but he doesn't agree. But there is a moment where he's discussing taking them back to Minas Tirith. But he does take them prisoner because he has to figure out who they are, why they're here. Can I trust you? Um, as much, yeah, and Serena, as even I had nitpicks about season one of Rings of Power, but I tell you what, for all the nitpicks I had about season one of Rings of Power, season two was fucking awesome. I'm telling you, I've it's been rare in my lifetime that I have seen the level of performance from two actors on a TV show than with the guys who played Celebrimbor and Sauron. Um, and that back and forth as Celebrimbor is literally falling to the dark side, not knowing that he's falling to the dark side, and then the final revelation of falling. And it's spoiler alert: Celebrimbor does not have a good end, guys. Like, oh, it was so awesome to see that play out. And so, a lot of the complaints that I had from season one of Rings of Power, I feel like they definitely earned the right to be respected as showrunners by the time they got to season two. Season one, I was like, eh, ah. Boromir. Oh, there's tons of plot holes in Rings of Power. You can't, and it should, because here's the thing. They don't have the rights to the Silmarillion. So it's literally like they're trying to tell the story of the Second Age without having the rights to the Second Age story. So they're pulling at threads from the appendices which don't allow them to tell the full story.